sports, and we are going to recap what happened this past week. I know I was a little delayed there, Sir Charles Smith, on getting you the show notes. So we're going to go ahead and have some real fun here. So we're going to recap last week. All right. We're going to go ahead and talk about some coaching changes. We're going to campaign to get Lafleur the hell out of the Packers, send him home wherever he came from. We're going to talk about what this week's looking like, and then we're going to make our picks. And I'm going to tell you what, hopefully my picks this week will not age poorly. Right? Welcome, Charles. Welcome back.
I believe you picked the Packers to beat the Bears, didn't you?
I did, but so I was explaining this week, okay, that two of my picks were based solely off of fan favorites, which was me. I'm the fan and I'm the favorite. Right. So I was going with that. I was rolling with the Packers because I got to roll with the Packers. If I don't roll with the Packers, then what kind of fan am I? Right. And it was close. It wasn't close. It was close at the end after they came back, and it was embarrassing. But they were the better team. Can we agree on that? The Packers
were the better team.
The Packers at the start of the game were the better team.
I told you, without Micah Parsons, they weren't going to win that game.
But they made it work. Anyway, right? So then the Chargers, the Chargers were I felt it was going to work.
4 games were great. And then the last two, the Sunday night game, the Chargers and Pats, was a stinker. And then that Houston and Pittsburgh game was a stinker on Monday night and spelled the end of Mike Tomlin stepped down after that. Aaron Rodgers likely has finally played his last NFL game. And from what I understand, C.J. Stroud, the Texans quarterback, was so bad that now I don't have this confirmed, but the defense, that stout defense of the Texans, actually cornered Coach in the locker room and forced him to put Davis Mills in as the starter this week as they go to New England to play that game in snowy conditions where it's going to be a high of, according to my notes, 35 degrees will be the high there in New England. Played out there in the elements. 18 degrees is going to be the high in Chicago when the Rams go there. And probably by game time, it'll be more like 7 to 10 degrees. But we'll get into that also. But, yeah, I guess Davis Mills is starting for the Texans this week.
I've got to say, let me double check that I'm correct, right? He was a Fresno State, right? Wasn't he?
Mills?
Yeah, wasn't he another Fresno State?
I don't know. You mean like Trent Dilfer?
I mean like David Carr.
And Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. I'm sorry. I don't know why I say David. I always say David. I just got corrected from the background there.
Well, I mean, it's a good chapter.
I'm sorry. He was Stanford guy. So he's a California guy. So he'll do well in the cold weather, right?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So here we go. Okay, let's recap. You ready to recap?
Ready to, man.
Ready to. All right. So let's go ahead and recap. Let's go with let's see, let me bring up. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's look at the Chargers. We'll start backwards. Okay. Actually, let's start backwards. There we go. Sorry, I froze for a little bit. It scared me. All right. So Texans, Steelers. Here we go. It was 30-6. You went with the Texans. I went with the Steelers because what did I say? What was my quote?
I have no idea, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense. That's all I know.
There was still some Aaron left to give.
No, and I think the problem is when I watch that game, Aaron Rodgers, I think he understands how slow that he's slowed down, but he didn't realize just how slow he has become. I saw some of those plays. It's like, dude, it's just time to hang it up. Father Time is undefeated, as they say, He is undefeated. Look at how all the heads he has mounted on his wall, Father Time, everything from Bart Starr to Michael Jordan to Wayne Gretzky to Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. Father Time wins. He wins all the time.
Don't forget about Father Favre, huh?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. All of them. All of them. Father Time wins.
Yeah, I agree. Really looking at the Steelers' offense, right? You have DK Metcalf, okay, the only receiver, and he had one that hit his hands, and he forgot he had thumbs. Okay, kind of batted that mess down.
Yeah, even AJ Brown couldn't believe he dropped that pass.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that thing went right to. That was one of those moments. Yeah. The run game was really insignificant. I expected Warren to come out there and figure out how to do something. And so one of my stipulations with this game was when it came down to if Aaron Rodgers did what he did in his later years, which he definitely did, was not play very well or produce any kind of offense. That if the Steelers defense was out there too long, then the game would be lost. That was my stipulation.
And they were out there too long.
They were out there.
And what happened?
I would argue 99% of the game they were out there.
The game was yeah. I'd say 90%. That's T.J. Watt's number, right? And I think I saw number 90 about there 90% of the time when I looked at the screen. T.J. Watt was out there,
and he was motoring. I give props for him for from the first part of the game to the last part of the game, he was still going. So it was interesting, right? Because then it took the experience of the quarterback out, right? And C.J. Stroud, he didn't do good at all. How many he fumbled, lost the ball, fumbled.
Yeah, 5 turnovers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and the fact that they got 30 points was impressive. The way he came out of the game. But you were right. Okay, the Texan defense is the one that people have been watching. This entire season.
The boys are bad.
They came ready to play. They brought it a lot more than I thought they would. I thought they kind of would get to the big game and kind of hesitate a little bit. But the way they played the middle to the end of the season was the same way. They played the same way, if not better, right, going into this game. And so it's something to watch when making a pick this week. And I've struggled with this one. So next, let's go Chargers, Patriots.
Why?
Why? Because we got to talk about it.
That wasn't even what's to talk about there.
Let's go back. We forgot about Tomlin, right? So let's talk about Tomlin.
Yeah, he's out 18 years, 19 years. I forget.
And in my opinion, that's 16 years too long.
Nah, he was. You know what? I saw one theory that was floating around. When you look at the teams, they talk about they've lost their last 7 playoff games or whatever. But honestly, look at the teams that he's had. I think what you have is a good coach getting some pretty mediocre teams to the playoffs. That's really what it is. So a testament to him making, chicken soup out of chicken poop. I think the way that goes. He took some. When was the last time they had an actual dominant roster? The Steelers. When you look at the roster and say, "Holy crap, this bunch of guys could take on the world." Yeah.
The last time Troy Polamalu destroyed Pat McAfee.
You're right. Yeah.
And Pat McAfee's still bitter about that one. But then that's the thing, though. So we look back and never not working, right? Never not working. Some of us have hair, Charles.
Oh, man. Hey, and some of us want to inspire change.
I was waiting.
Yeah, that's the way that goes, man.
Throw that in there.
I had my dynamite fro back in the day. I had the soul glow going on and everything. My Jerry curl was tight back in the day. Me and Eric Dickerson were neck and neck.
Yeah, we've seen that picture on your fireplace mantle.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the muscles and everything.
It was
almost
looked like
yeah.
Almost looked like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I go back to Tomlin. Okay,
I was just as handsome, but not as sophisticated back then.
Yeah, and you actually got wiser with age too. I'd probably say.
I like to think so. Yeah, and and I think Sasquatch up there in the corner would agree with you. There's Sasquatch there. There's Sasquatch.
Yeah, I see him. He would agree with.
Yeah, he hangs around.
Absolutely. So Tomlin, right? I think I talk about this a lot, probably too often when it comes to this guy. Is that you're right? You should give him credit for bringing mediocre teams like this one to the playoffs, and he hasn't had theoretically a losing season.
Right.
He's kind of been
Well, he literally has not had a losing season.
a little bit above par. I feel like
Okay, hypothetically, when you win more games than you lose, it's not a losing season. So therefore,
okay, the Sutter approach right there, right? Why did you win? Well, we scored more goals than the other team.
hey, I've got a lot of Sutter stories, so I don't want to get sidetracked here.
Anyway, I feel like with him though, we set him up when he got the job to have a good couple seasons with the team that was left over from Cowher's program, and then once that kind of fizzled out, he had to re-find or re-examine and re-identify what the Steelers were going to be.
Well, that's kind of the GM's job, but yes.
But that's what he had to do,
right? Yeah.
Because he wasn't getting the best picks. He was kind of making do, like you said. He was making do with what he had and turned, shit into gold.
Yeah.
And
that's
so that
high level alchemy right there, man.
Yeah, that is a high level alchemy. So I think overall, I guess I've been too hard on him, in the past couple of years, because it's like, well, why isn't he producing? He got leftover Bill Cowher program, which was great, and then once he was on his own, it was like, man. But then you're right, you made a good point. He turned mediocre teams.
Well, I'll tell you what, when he gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you can go there and personally apologize to him. Yeah.
Well,
hey, you know what? Is he as good a coach as Tony Dungy? That's my question. The answer is yes. And Dungy,
I would say so, because look at what Tony Dungy did with the Colts. Good Lord, he turned that team around. All right, now, so anyway, one day I'll personally apologize to Tomlin for being too hard on him.
Then we got your boy Mike McCarthy, who's I guess floating out there, rumored and everything, and all the lefties out there love this. Just say no to McCarthyism. I'm done with McCarthyism. No more. No more. I'm just no.
I would love to figure out why he like went up, got the Super Bowl, then just went down.
Well, look at the rosters he had, though. That's the thing. Well, look at Tomlin, and I talk about the roster. Look at the personnel that McCarthy had to work with in Green Bay, and how long it took him to do anything with it. And then he finally gets to that one Super Bowl. They win it, and he's been making a living off it ever since.
Yeah,
not leaving a buffet,
He did have quite the team,
Right.
Him
and
Eddie Lacy have been living off that Super Bowl for a while now.
Eddie Lacy. Is he living off the fat of the land now, or what?
I guess. Hopefully, he figured out how to stop getting bigger.
Yeah.
He went from a running back to a nose guard. Yeah. Well, I made that comment though this week. I said if Aaron Rodgers had more than DK Metcalf to work with, I feel like he would have done a little bit better.
Well, yeah, maybe. They were overmatched. I mean, Texans defense was swarming. They were swarming. They were taking away all his time. They were just they overwhelmed them. Texans, they played well enough. They deserved to win. And I think even if who else would they have had other than DK Metcalf? Do they have any injuries?
No, not really. No, they didn't have anybody. That was the point, though. When your game plan.
So if they had two DK Metcalfs, they would have won.
Well, I don't know if they had. They should have called Jordy Nelson out of retirement, right?
Well, they got Adam Thielen out of retirement.
Yeah, we're calling.
Well, basically, I mean, not really out of retirement, but he decided to go there for one last chance. And also, he announced his retirement today. So in a few years, we're going to have Aaron Rodgers inducted into the Hall of Fame and Adam Thielen probably into the Hall of Very Good.
The Hall of Mediocre for Thielen.
Yeah, very good. Very good. He had some good years in Minnesota.
Did he?
He did, yes. And, he did the best he could with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. Yes.
Well,
He did. He had Kirk Cousins. Remember that.
Yeah. So is Cousin going to be the Hall of
Steelers' new quarterback?
Huh?
We'll see. He restructured his contract, so he could actually wind up in Pittsburgh next year, depending on what they decide to go, what direction they go. They fired their coach also. Raheem Morris is out in Atlanta.
They did, and
yeah, there's that too. There's a lot of coaches that Jim Harbaugh, he's out. I'm sorry, John Harbaugh was out at Baltimore. He was on the street for just a few days, and now he's going to be the new head coach of the New York Giants. He was let go by Baltimore after 19 years, I think, there in Baltimore. And we talk about, okay, who had a better roster? Baltimore compared to Pittsburgh. Baltimore. So there again, it speaks to Tomlin making the best he could out of what he had, because there was a division rival there in Baltimore who had, they had a superior roster, I think, pretty much every year.
Yeah. So let's go.
They got Derrick Henry and still couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. And this year didn't even make the playoffs with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but that was a given.
And Lamar Jackson.
No, stop it.
And Zay Flowers.
No, we'll come back.
Mark Andrews.
We'll come back to this point. You're naming guys that are kind of okay, with exception of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, right. Derrick Henry, Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. The other guys are kind of okay. Anyway, so we'll come back to it. All right.
He's in the mold of Jason Witten.
No, the mold of Travis Kelce and the Eras tour. Okay.
Kelsey's a Hall of Famer, though. See, that's the problem.
No, he's not. He's a Hall of Crier. He's like LeBron.
Hey, don't talk bad about Mr. Swift, okay?
He's like LeBron. He cries a lot, complains. Anyway, so let's go to Brother Harbaugh. Okay. Chargers. Now, going into the game, one thing was expected of Justin Herbert. You're going to get sacked. That was the one thing. And then he got sacked again. And then he got sacked again. In fact, the whole game was him getting sacked, right?
Right.
When you have Keenan Allen, right? And I have to ask this question because he just recently beat Antonio Gates, and Antonio Gates was fantastic, right? But one thing that Antonio Gates did is he got his record in a shorter amount of time. I feel like Keenan Allen may have been good in his earlier season, but this guy catches, I think, out of all the games I've watched, right, all season, he's probably caught 2 passes a game. Right?
Well, I'll say this. Keenan Allen is kind of past his prime. He's past his prime a little bit. Gates was a tight end, whole different thing there. Gates had Phillip Rivers throwing to him. There's that other thing to think about as well. And also, the problem was that they don't have a run game. Ever since Najee Harris went down with the injury, the Chargers have been trying to make do, and Justin Herbert has been their best running back, and he's their quarterback. So once you get against a competent defense, they're going to lay extra guys back in pass coverage. They can double cover. They know, and Herbert also had the injured hand as well. So they know he's only going to be able to do so much. So we knew they weren't getting by a good team.
Yeah, well, that's my point, though. Is that
and Patriots, Mike Vrabel,
yeah,
former linebacker Mike Vrabel, talking about, a quarterback with an injured hand and no run game. I think I can scheme for this.
Right, but you think you would scheme better, though, if you're looking at it, because it's like you have Herbert had Puka Nacua. That was it. Right, Keenan Allen's old, and they expected him not to get very many passes, and it showed.
Well, Puka Nacua was a Ram, but anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Puka Nacua.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was a goofball of me. I don't know why I do that. I always do the LA teams, and I assume that they're just one.
No, one's good and one's the Chargers.
One's good and one's San Diego. That's the problem.
Right, yes.
Right. So I'm sorry, not Puka Nacua. So
I understand Khalil Mack is kind of weighing his options, too.
I think he had said that earlier.
Went to the Chargers and kind of faded into obscurity a little bit, a few injuries and things, but he hasn't been the same guy he was with the Raiders. Well, normally it's the other way around, where someone is normally great, they go to the Raiders and go to obscurity, but this guy was great with the Raiders and then went to the Chargers and has kind of toiled in obscurity ever since. He did not get them over the top.
He wanted to be like Woodson. He wanted to play really well on the Raiders and then go to the Packers and get a Super Bowl and then go back to the Raiders and retire. That was his plan. He said Woodson did it, so why can't I do it?
Woodson, Eddie Lacy, good Lord. You're just stuck in a different time period, man.
I am. And we'll talk about how I know I'm stuck in a different time period with the way that Philip Rivers was speaking at his second retirement party. Anyway, so the Patriots did exactly what I expected the Patriots to do. They ran those quick out routes, and they had Drake May roll out. It was predictable, but
and it was the most boring Patriots win since they what were they? Did they win 16-6 in that Super Bowl over the Rams?
Yeah,
when the Rams had Jared Goff, and this was 16-3, and it was equally as boring as that Super Bowl was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, all it is to win the game. I mean, if you get the W, who cares if it was fun to watch or not? I'm just saying from a fan perspective, it was brutal. I think even Patriot fans, they're happy with the W, but did they enjoy that game? No, not really.
It was hard to watch.
It's not aesthetically pleasing.
It was hard to watch. It was boring.
It was especially with all the games that came before it. Yeah, the 4 games before were just awesome. The Rams came all the way down to the end. The Niners. Oh my God! And that was the thing. The one game I thought was just a no-brainer, like go ahead out and do your shopping and then check the score at the end, was the Niners and the Eagles. The Niners, all those injuries, and then George Kittle goes down in the first half, and they still beat the Eagles in Philly in the playoffs. With the Eagles being the defending Super Bowl champions and the Eagles having a healthy squad, A.J. Brown complaining, almost coming to blows with his coach. Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you see that? He got all up in his face. That was
yeah. About Sirianni.
Yeah, that's what
Sirianni would fight him if he wanted to. Sirianni's nuts. You can tell Sirianni got them crazy eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting the bodyguard to come back out and start punching players again.
Yeah,
that was interesting, but
uncomfortable off season coming up in Philly.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts, I said he had been consistent. Remember that before last week we were talking about consistency,
and
he kind of proved me wrong. He got off of his rhythm and his game, and he wasn't as consistent. And he had trouble holding on to the ball. Right, that's the most time I've seen him drop a ball in a game. And then even at the end when he was trying to they were in the red zone ready to score, and he still made just terrible.
Well, I mean, A.J. Brown made some key drops. And from what I understand, his days as an Eagle are pretty much over. And I think one of the things with Jalen Hurts, and they talk about it, you hear the rumblings, but Jalen Hurts does what Jalen Hurts does, and he's not really that open to expanding the playbook. That's what they've said about him. And maybe that's A.J. Brown saying, hey, you know what? Throw me the ball. Maybe he's the type who needs to get – because he didn't even get targeted that many times during that game. We had maybe 5 targets during the whole game. Your receiver who is, just maybe, a cut below the Justin Jefferson type of receivers. But he's really talented, and he's not getting the ball. So maybe he's the type he needs to know he's getting the ball to really feel he's in the game. Because, I mean, I love running wind sprints for no reason just as much as anyone else. But it's nice to get the ball thrown your way when you do all that running and cutting and everything else to shake these DBs. Then you're running free, and there's no ball there. When I break free there, I'm supposed to look and see this projectile coming out of the sky. Drop into my hands. That's the whole reason I do it. That's why I do all that
job to catch the ball.
Yeah, right. And then he's, I'm so, oh wait, it's there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what do I do with it? Yeah, right. And I think that's the case though. When you get mad about not being targeted, then you get the 5 plays. It's like maybe I should catch the football.
Yeah.
Right. If we look across the ball, right, and Jennings is, throwing the ball to get a touchdown. Right, you need to catch those 5, passes to you. You got to. It was
drops, I believe. I believe he had 3 drops on the day.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Again, it was weird to watch. Frisco, I hated every second of watching them. Again, because.
Hey, and by the way, Brock Purdy says he loves you, no matter what.
What?
Brock Purdy, he went out there and he balled out just for Justin Peterson. In fact, I think he held up the game ball and said, "This one is for Justin, right here."
Yeah, he had texted me before the
He
game.
balled out.
He had texted me before the game and said, "You're the actual Mr. Irrelevant." Okay.
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. What?
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I
He
wish
said
he had done the Dougie for you, though. You know, he didn't Dougie.
he didn't. He should have, because I love it when white guys try to do like Terrell Owen touchdown dances and that doesn't work out for him.
Oh yeah, Mike Gesicki trying to do the gritty is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
Y'all got to YouTube that. Mike Gesicki, gritty. Enjoy. You're welcome.
Yeah, nobody can do the goose like Tony Siragusa and stuff. Come on now. Anyway.
R.I.P.
Yeah. They showed up. McCaffrey not so much. He didn't play as well as I would have expected him to, but I think they didn't scheme him the way that people were expecting them to scheme him. You know what I mean? He was more the relief guy, the relief route guy. They kind of post him into that quick flat right there. Jennings did really well. He hardly had a drop. And then Purdy, yeah, you're right. Purdy made me look like an idiot out there.
Yeah. And he enjoyed it too.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I think I'll say it again for the second weekend, but there to me is not a chance in hell that the Niners get by Seattle this weekend. I really don't see that. You want to say shocked? I would say they'll, I'll run naked through Anaheim if they win that game, but I don't want to risk it. But I cannot see them beating the Seahawks this weekend.
I don't know.
I cannot see that in Seattle. Weather's going to be nice, sunny and 53 degrees. No rainstorms or anything, even though it's Seattle. So perfect weather conditions. Seattle's 7-point favorite. So we'll see. But I look at the way Darnold's playing, I think Seattle is just ready.
Here's my thing with the Niners, and I go back to this. I was actually telling my wife this year, is that I am glad that Robert Saleh came back to the team. I think he deserved to be on a good team. I think he's a much better defensive coordinator than head coach. And I think he's got that defense kind of locked down. I think he's got, linebackers have really good downhill movement. The defensive line without Bosa was doing really well, setting picks on the stunts and kind of operating with the blitzes coming through and the outside contain, which allowed the linebackers to get their downhill movement and kind of flow with the team, even without old Fred, right? But I think Fred's coming back this week, by the way. Fred Warner.
Fred Warner, yeah, the practice window is open. We'll see if he's out there.
Yeah. So I think that the one thing when deciding who to go with this week is that you have Robert Saleh, and he's as far as defensive coordinators go, I'd say he's one of the best.
So you're going with the Seahawks?
I think, yes, because I will never vote for the Niners ever, never.
Seahawks have a better team.
Yeah,
they have the better team all around. When I look at it by position, I mean, you could say that Purdy and Darnold at this point we'll just call them equal. We'll say that's a wash between those two. But when you look at the run game, well, Christian McCaffrey, even though there's only one of him, but you could say that he's the equivalent of Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, maybe. Yeah. But again, then you got the swarming defense.
Yeah.
Swarming defense, and then no George Kittle.
No George Kittle, but
no George Kittle.
The dude that came in.
Kittles and bits.
Yeah, I agree. But when you throw yourself through the gauntlet that much, we're kind of at a point here where you got to look at the longevity, right? You can't always roll into the stadium on a reindeer passing out pizza. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta eventually make it through the whole game and not be out 3 times for the season. And I appreciate George Kittle. There's nothing against him. I think that as much as I want to hate him, I think that he's been legitimately one of the best tight ends to have played the game.
He's basically Travis Kelce light.
No, Travis Kelce tries a lot. George Kittle doesn't. If George Kittle had
Kelsey, he grandstands a little bit.
If George Kittle had Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, we would say something else. But instead, we had
then we'd be calling Kelsey Kittle light.
Yeah, that's exactly the point, right? We can't stop saying Kelsey.
Okay, well, I get my days mixed up.
That dude's golf on the Eras Tour, crying about how he felt he was better than he was. He's like LeBron.
No, let's not do the LeBron thing. I just had a LeBron discussion with someone.
Yeah, he cries.
And I posted a picture of Jordan and his rings, and he says, "Oh, okay, so Bill Russell's in the building." And he posted a picture of Bill Russell, and I said, "Well, as long as we're talking about players that are just better than LeBron and not necessarily the greatest ever, I posted a picture of Kareem." And there we go.
Did we post a picture of Larry Bird
and Magic Johnson? Yeah, there's the list goes on. Yeah.
What about
the upset alert I talked about? The Buffalo Bills going into Jacksonville, and I said, this is the kind of game that Josh Allen can win. And what happened in this game? What happened? Did you see that final drive?
Yeah, but that's
won, and why did they win? It was Josh Allen, injured, beat up.
Yeah,
one leg,
a 10-yard tush push, right?
And did you see? Could you believe it? It just kept on going. It just kept on going.
That's the point, though, and the fact they should just give him the touchdown. Not really. He landed the half a yard line.
Right.
But I think that's a factor with everybody. With the Bills is that you have Josh Allen. Josh Allen is very well at getting out of the pocket when need be. He will hold that ball in the throwing position all the way to that line, and then go from there, right? And the linebackers are frozen, especially when he has the zone spreads that defense out. There's nobody really covering that middle ground. He's going to take advantage of that. Josh Allen.
What's he weigh? 300 pounds or something? I think he's pushing 3 bills. They say 255 or something, but no, he's got some Big Ben stuff going on there.
He's but better than Big Ben, right?
True that.
Yeah,
he's better than Big Ben.
Well, you know what he's not going to go do before this game is get in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, that was a dark time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's the factor. Even making the pick this week is you have Josh Allen. He's always going to be a factor. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have that same thing. So when it came down to it, and who's going to carry that, if it became a defensive game, Josh Allen was going to be the decider.
Yeah,
I mean, he was. It's just he always is.
But the question is really, Josh Allen playing in the mile-high air in Denver, 41 degrees, no snow. His team is a 1.5-point underdog.
Well,
Josh Allen going to be the difference against Denver this week.
I think
about that.
I think the question is how much money is Sean Payton going to pay his defense to go hit Josh Allen?
Well, I think they're paid very handsomely. That's the thing. And also that mile-high air ain't no joke. It just isn't. If you've been to Denver, you've been in mile-high air, it is. Dude, I almost passed out in a public park there when I was throwing a Frisbee in Denver way back. And this was when I was kind of in my athletic prime, still in my mid-30s.
You're not still in your athletic prime?
I am not.
You sure?
According to, I had a conversation with my lower back, and my lower back said we are not in our athletic prime.
Yeah, but let's inspire change, brother. Come on now.
Yeah.
You need
change what from Ben Gay to Tiger Bomb?
Oh my goodness! All right, yes, right. That was the one upset alert. It was nice.
That's your upset alert. Buffalo and Denver. You think Buffalo's going to go there and get it done?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But
you think they're going to get it done?
Yeah,
you're going to call it? You saying upset alert, or are you going to call it? You actually call it?
I'm calling about the last week. I don't want to make any picks yet. I don't want people to stop watching the show. All six of them, 8 of them. Sorry, 8 on Rumble. 8 people watched the whole episode on Rumble. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. You know what that means is that we're
8 is enough.
We're probably the best sports podcaster today.
8 is enough, man.
Yeah. Pat McAfee, who? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game, right? So let's talk about the sore thumb from this weekend. The elephant in the room. The Packers.
Oh, yeah, from
Let's
what I
talk about
understand,
that.
you want
So
to campaign for Matt Lafleur. Is this correct?
I will in a second. Yeah,
Lafleur for
I'm gonna
Lafleur.
So here's the deal.
Power.
Here's the deal. I know we talk about this all the time that it couldn't possibly be the case that New York throws games, right? This game, the second half of this game was, oh, there's that Dolphins Cup. Nice, nice. I love the plug there. The second half did so bad. I really believe that was one of the very moments where you're like, New York had to have called, right? Because it was just crazy the fact that one team went in the locker room, adjusted, the other team came out of the locker room and was like, went in the locker room, sorry, and was like, no, we're good. We're just keep gonna do what we're gonna do.
In the end, Caleb Williams was the difference.
Yeah,
Caleb Williams is growing by leaps and bounds, and I think he is on his way to being just one of the most memorable quarterbacks.
I don't think so.
He's on his way to elite status. Caleb Williams.
No, I think he's one of the most improved. I don't think he's going to be memorable. I think that
he's on his way. He's on his way. 2 more seasons.
No, not with that fingernails. Not with those fingernails.
Yeah, you know what? It sucks that he paints his fingernails. I get that. That's hard to get over. But you know what? If you can get it done when you're on the field, who cares about all that stuff? And it looks like
he didn't. I'm going to tell you,
that flamboyant stuff is a distraction. It's not old school, obviously. I mean, Vince Lombardi would probably you would cut him for sure.
I'm going to tell you this: that game wasn't him. He was allowed to win that game because Matt Lafleur could not adjust anymore, and he went back to his Falcons days. He said, "You know what? I love that Super Bowl so much that we got whooped on. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over again."
Well, Matt Lafleur, you got to remember, he is the guy who, when Aaron Rodgers was still there, remember in his first year, you guys were down by 4 points, and you had 3rd and goal. And Rodgers was pretty sure he had two plays to get across, and Lafleur, down by 4 points, kicks a field goal with a minute left in the game.
That's what I'm saying, though. But the point is like you have an awful quarterback, and I'm going to say awful because Jordan Love is at this point good when his receivers get open, but can't move around the pocket, right? He's going to get when that pocket collapses, he hesitates, and then he's done. He's not going to do the Rodgers thing. He's not going to do the Favre thing where he's going to get that ball to where it needs to go, even when that pocket is done. And so you can't do that. I think LaFleur is suffering from the idea that he still thinks he has Rodgers. But he still he
didn't really get the best of Aaron Rodgers anyways. He got Aaron Rodgers in his twilight.
I agree. But, it's like you get to this game, you're up for your contract, right? And you do that, right? The GM of the Packers has to be sitting there going, he didn't adjust once. Williams was allowed to win because the Packers stopped scoring.
Why the Packers stopped scoring? Because you got to look at who you got. What's your quarterback situation? Malik Willis actually finally developed into what should be a starting quarterback, and Love is the guy who should be on the bench, or what?
Well, okay, so we talked about the one game where he shines for the one game. Mm-hmm. He shined for the 2 games, okay, and it's a shame he got hurt at the end. I think that Malik Willis, if anything, is a better starting choice than Jordan Love. I think that the Packers still need to invest in a quarterback that can be, developed while they're going to go through another 1980s period is what I believe.
Ooh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
Where is Don Mikowski, anyways?
Still sad. Still sad. Especially because they gave up their pick that they could have had, Barry Sanders for, and they took a lineman that ended up not being good and kind of fumbling from there. So, regardless, right, is that, again, Packers better team. They blew it. Williams looked good because Packers sucked.
Maybe you should call the Niners, see if you can get Mac Jones, swap him for one of your quarterbacks. Send one of your quarterbacks over there. Well, the only one you could send is Malik Willis, really, because you're paying Jordan Love. So
listen, Jordan Love is gone. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Where's he going? Hey, I'll tell you what.
He's going to retire
straight across for Tua.
Yeah, you know what he's going? He's going to go to Mississippi and challenge Brett Favre to a race, and I bet you Brett Favre would win. Yeah. I bet you $100. I put $100 on that.
Favre, is he still upright?
Yeah, I bet you $100 that if they race today right now, Brett Favre would win.
I worry about Brett Favre. I think the way the Brett Favre story is going to end is no one will have seen him for a week, and then finally he will be found. That's kind of it. It sounds morbid, but I think that's how it ends.
Like, because he had a heart attack and he saw his bank account was empty now. Is that why?
Come on, look at him. He doesn't have longevity written all over him now, does he?
No, he needs to find himself a good NFL team that has a good line and get back in the game. Just for one season. One season. You know he'd do better than most of the quarterbacks today. You can't argue with that. You know,
add to his career interception record.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have that. He's gonna have that record forever. Let's just we can just say yes, right? But you know he'd play better than Love. He'd probably be better than J.J. McCarthy. Come on now.
Well, J.J. McCarthy, in order to throw interceptions, you actually have to be healthy enough to be on the field.
Yeah, you had to throw the ball though too,
and that's JJ's problem.
You got to throw the ball with J.J. McCarthy. You know, if I can compare you to Geno Smith on the Raiders, right? We got a problem.
Geno Smith.
Anyway, so it was a wild weekend, right? The most interesting. Oh wait, did we talk about the Rams and the Panthers yet? No, we didn't.
Did we talk about which?
The Rams and the Panthers. Did we talk about them yet?
Well, that was one of those games. That's where the experience came through, and you could tell that was if the Panthers actually knew how to win a game that big, they would have. But they didn't, and you could tell the Rams they executed better in the key moments of the game.
Yeah,
I think the future looks good for the Panthers. I like that, so that's a good thing there. And Bryce Young went through it was a heck of an up and down season, but ended kind of on a high note. So he may be their guy under center going forward. So I think the Panthers, for the first time since the Jake Delhomme era, can look forward to actually fielding a competitive team.
I think they finally did it, right? Yeah, I think they finally did it. They will come back to the playoffs next year. I promise you that.
Jake Delhomme and Deshaun Foster, remember those?
Remember the Panthers' big PR stunt to try to build like a leadership role on a team is that they said, "Hey, I think Reggie White would be a good fit on this team."
Moving on.
But you know it. They've tried to do so many things, and they finally found a program that worked, which originally didn't look like it was going to work, right? Last year was kind of like, are they going to produce anything? So I think the Panthers are going to come back. I believe that the experience, you're right, the experience is what kind of made that game a Rams victory versus a Panthers victory.
Yeah.
You know, Stafford did a few things that should have been kind of the end of the Rams offense and the game. And so, yeah.
You know, I heard someone talking about Stafford, and we looked at the way that he kind of had to toil when he was in Detroit. And then what he's become when he's gotten to the Rams, and even though he's in the, on the other side of his career now, but it's to a certain point where Stafford you kind of got to look at with just the all-time guys. Not the greatest quarterback in history, but when you start mentioning all those guys who were good and really consistent and just were great quarterbacks, I think you got to look at Stafford. Look at the throws that he makes, the angles that he finds, and the way that he manages the game when he needs to. He's a heck of a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's been consistent. He's been well, even at Detroit, right? It was kind of like they picked him up. That was the big.
Well, that was Detroit. I mean, come on, it
But
just shows how toxic that environment was.
right, but what I'm saying is that he did well there with that team, right? Then he came to the Rams, and the Rams, because of Sean McVay, kind of opened up an offense that worked with him,
Mm-hmm.
and so he kind of found himself. I would say he found himself for the first time, right? He spent all those years trying to figure out what kind of quarterback he is, and then he got to the Rams and figured out that he is he's actually a really good quarterback. He can make those all three level throws. He's throwing
Right.
he's throwing the deep ball with accuracy and enough strength to get there. A lot of times you see the quarterbacks, and I go back to Jordan Love because he kind of like floats it, doesn't have the strength,
We'll
but
go back to who?
Jordan Love, where he kind of like floats
Oh,
it. You know what I mean?
well, that's Tua. You know,
Tua is the same way. Doesn't have the
Tua
strength.
throws a deep ball, and you see his receiver down there looking like a center fielder waiting for a fly ball to come down out of the sky. While all these defensive backs are converging on him.
Yeah, they pulled their baseball glove out. All right.
Yeah.
So Stafford really found himself, right? And so he all three levels. And when you could do that as a quarterback, you're great. You're great.
Right.
And he moved around. Now, hopefully, we don't find a reporter around him that falls off of a Super Bowl stage.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we get that one? Can I count it? I'm on a roll today. Yeah, and again, I think Puka Nacua is doing well. He's actually on the Rams, so I'm talking about the Rams, by the way, and I didn't mess this one up.
Right.
He's doing really well. I think he had some moments where he had the kind of drops that he didn't expect himself.
Well, then he also had a drop, and he prevented an interception.
Yeah, that was
he did a great job of playing defensive back. He realized, that led to something good as well. So
yeah, he realized that went over his head. He couldn't find it, and when he finally didn't locate the ball, he went up and played. Yeah, he could have been. Yeah, and that was impressive too, because a lot of receivers don't really have that ability. I do think though that they do feel still the loss of Cooper Kupp, because they haven't filled that, not with him, but they haven't filled that receiver spot yet with someone that could kind of be that guy to take over that.
Well, you had Devontae Adams is he's still hobbled. I could see him running. Devontae Adams is still feeling that hamstring a little bit, but he's supposed to be the bookend with Nacua and then Devontae Adams. So he definitely still has some game left in him, but he got that hamstring injury late in the year.
Yeah, I think Adams does. I think my problem with Adams is not that he's not a good receiver, because he's a great receiver, right? Is that I compare him a lot to when the Packers were going through a rough time and all their receiver core was out, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you have Devontae Adams like show up on the field and you're like, oh God, he can play, right? And so I compare him to those years, because those years he had a lot of fire. He didn't get the paycheck yet. He wasn't the well-known receiver. He wasn't the Super Bowl guy. He was kind of that guy that was still trying to make it in the league. And versus now, I feel like he hasn't had that same fire. Not that makes him any less, of a good receiver. It's just he kind of has that. He needs to. I don't know. You're right. You can see the hamstring problem.
Right. Yeah.
You can see the hamstring problem, but he's kind of been, for the past couple of seasons now, from the Jets to the Raiders to the Rams, he's kind of been like that. He hasn't really fully been himself, and maybe it's just because he went from the Packers, which had a somewhat good program, a good quarterback, and that connection, to the Raiders, which terrible Derek Carr.
I think when he went to the Raiders, he realized it's like, you know what? I don't like money as much as I thought I did. I never should have done this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so he kind of lost a little bit of the passion that I think we've seen him play with. And he went to the Jets in an attempt to restore that passion. And well, you're on the Jets, right? This Bill Parcells isn't there no more. So you're kind of out of your game there. I know. I keep going back to a while ago. That's all right. I live with
Parcells and the Jets. Oh my goodness.
I live with the good era of football, and that's kind of how I remember football and how I want to remember football. I know. I hope that he refines himself with the Rams moving forward, and I do count on the Rams.
Well, he is in the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
So he's probably got this year. He's got next year. We'll see beyond that, but he is in the twilight.
Yeah. But as far as but even after Twilight, as far as like if you look at the Packers legacy that he left, I would put him up there with Donald Driver and Sterling Sharp for sure. I would. I would put him up there.
Well, a little more rangy, yeah.
I would, and I'm hesitant to do this one. I would put him up there with Jordy Nelson too. As far as the legacy you leave.
Yeah. I think I can get down with that.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
Because think about it. Those were the premier, receivers.
Yeah. I get it.
All right.
I get it. Yes. I'm done. Right.
So here we go.
One of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did count that, right?
Yeah, you counted it. Did you? Yeah, we got it. 1, 2. All right, so here we go. Okay, let's talk about coaches. You want to talk about coaches? Coaches.
Say what?
You want to talk about coaches?
Coaches?
Yeah.
We covered. Harbaugh's out. Tomlin's out. Mike McDaniel, thank goodness, is out. My Dolphins can finally look forward to getting a new coach.
To the Giants, I think he'll do really well with the Giants. I think Jackson Dart's I don't want to get canceled for this, but can I say it? Can I say this? Is that
Jackson Dart's a what?
I think he's better than Lamar.
He's better than Lamar?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, he's at a 16, 17 game sample size, but okay.
I think
better than Lamar.
He finished the season, didn't he?
Well, he did, but remember, he was in the medical tent a few times. So yeah, he finished it, but there was a little chunk there in the middle. So let's not forget that.
Right. Okay. So forgive me. I think he's better than Lamar. I think he's got more to offer than Lamar did. Lamar's offered all that he has. More Harbaugh. What?
Does he have more upside? Is he potentially? Because Lamar is a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, he can run. He can't throw the ball. He can run though.
But yeah, that's too small sample size. We'll give Dart a couple of more years. And plus, they'll have Scatterboo back in the backfield. He'll be recovered from that ankle. So I think it's a good time there, and the Giants could shock some people next year. I'll give you that.
I think he's got a lot to work with. And again, I'm gonna hold to it with Jackson Dart. I think that was the sore thumb of the Ravens for Harbaugh, as he kept putting his chips in the Lamar basket. So we have that. Okay, we have Pete Carroll and his film closet are going to go ahead and leave. No, is it too soon?
Pete Carroll, that's right. Is
it too soon for that joke?
Well, he needs to. You know what? They should give him a case of Hubba Bubba and just say, you know what? Just go and chew your way through the Pacific Northwest, a little smoky smoke and whatever it is that keeps you young, and that's it. But this football thing, just dude. What's he, 73, 74 now? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's time.
You think you would look at like the the titles that you have, right? You got all the college ones. You got the you had some taken away from you, obviously. Yeah. You have a Super Bowl title, right? Just give it up. Just give it up.
Should have 2 Super Bowl rings, but
the second, and again though, don't take Geno Smith with you when you move teams. That's the number one thing that we learned. Not that he was going to win anything at the Raiders, with the Raiders, but
right.
Don't take Geno Smith with you. Try better, try harder. Lafleur contract is up right now.
Yeah,
needs to get fired. Should get fired.
Well, if your contract is up, they just let you go.
Well, they're debating extending. Yeah, but they're debating extending.
Like they said in The Office. Office Space. We fixed the glitch.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, we fixed the glitch.
Yeah,
yeah. That with him gone, I think it would be a brand new team. I think that they would have the ability to enter into a better era one that, to utilize, say, the defensive coordinator well, right? You can complement. Your defense not out there the entire game. Um, you can't lose arguments with the ref all the time, like Lafleur does. You got to adjust. Yeah, the scheme overall needs to be out. Needs to fix the glitch, get out. Okay. What do you think?
Honestly, I sort of don't know here, because Lafleur he obviously had problems when he started, but then you look at a lot of coaches and they may not be good when they start. They learn the game, and it looked like he was coming into his own. And like I say about coaches, and we'll say this in many different sports, but when we look at great coaches, we like to think that they were great out of the box, and a lot of them weren't.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, he coached in Cleveland, everybody. It happened. Nobody talks about it, but he did coach in Cleveland, and he was awful. And even in baseball, Dave Roberts, people talk about, they were talking about fire Dave Roberts. And I think they were right when they were saying that a few years back. He wasn't that good a manager. Now he is a good manager. So it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes a while for coaches to be good. And I thought Lafleur had turned that corner. And it turns out that maybe now he really hasn't. I don't know.
I don't know, but see, you would think that, right? But then you have out of the box coaches. Take a look at, like, say, for president, say Pat Hill, right? Pat Hill was really out of the box good coach because he came from a coach who was good, which is Harry Welsh, who went on to win like every high school state title he could possibly win from a small school that used to whoop on the team that I played 70 something to 6. And so there's you have those coaches who just click and do really well and have that program, know the discipline, and then you have something like Lafleur who never came. He didn't find himself as a coach.
Well, and he was part of this movement toward guys that are kind of younger and going to be this kind of wonderkind type of a thing, like Sean McVay, Cliff Kingsbury, Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, Brandon Staley, who was coaching the Chargers there for a minute. He said from this new thing of, hey, let's get this guy who's like, maybe his 30s, early 40s, and just see what he can do, instead of going with the old guard and some of these retreads, which I kind of appreciate. But
yeah. But then, okay, so then you look at it, right, and you're gonna call me old on this one, right? Picking up, like, take Quay Walker, right? He's just now figuring out how to be a linebacker, right? He's not the AJ Hawk, he's not the Nick Barnett, so he's not the guy that come on now,
AJ Hawk,
even Nick, like I said, then you go back further to Nick Barnett, right? Come on now, you're not. They're not the same. Yeah, he's not the same. Right?
All right.
But I appreciate Quay Walker. I think that he's gotten better, right? But I think that pickup was a bad pickup originally. You don't get a guy who tries to attack a Detroit Lions sports trainer and then get kicked out, right? You get Preston Smith, and all Preston Smith does is get fatter, right, and then slower. And you got to figure out that wasn't a good choice. Okay,
hey, you know what? It takes some talent to actually get fat in your 20s.
That's what I'm saying.
Being a professional athlete, I remember when I was in my heyday, and I used to eat nonstop and could not gain an ounce.
Yeah, and then when you stop being an athlete, then you eat one thing, and
your metabolism kind of slows down. And
your
fat cells come back to haunt you.
Yeah, you have a secondary that's so bad you had to pick up, Trevon Diggs, right?
Right.
You've gone through multiple running backs in the past, 10 seasons now.
All right, so just a minute.
Yeah.
So are you campaigning for Lafleur to stay there, or do you want him to go?
I want him to go. Look at those picks.
You're talking about how he's basically been hamstrung by his roster. So
no, it goes back to who sat in those meetings to pick him up. Who sat in those meetings to pick that up and give the okay? Right? You don't go from the team that he inherited to having all those guys gone, and then now you're piecing together the 1980s again.
Who's the GM?
They got a new one, didn't they? He's
Right.
2 years in, yeah.
So
2 years in, and he gets Parsons, which was a good buy. I don't think they should have given up Kenny Clark for him. I think they should have sold 3 other guys, and in that trade deal, because we didn't have guys in the middle now. But I don't know. I think that
like I said, had you have Parsons, I think the Packers win this game, and this whole fire Lafleur discussion is not even being had.
No, I think it still would have been
That's the fine margins that we run on here.
Yeah, I agree, right? If he didn't lose that game, I guess I could have made a case, but I could have made a case that he should have been fired in the early part of the season when Packers would say lose to the Browns. Right? When you lose to the Browns and then you lose to the Panthers, and then you lose the next 2 games after that, it's like those aren't games you should lose.
Yeah. Well, there's things to figure out, definitely.
Yeah.
Does he have elite play? Does he have elite play at the positions that really matter? I guess you can look at that. Does he have an anchor on the defensive line? Does he have an anchor at linebacker? Does he have an anchor for the defensive backfield?
So we
have one anchor at each of those 3 levels of defense there. Let's forget the skill positions on offense, but looking at defense, the great team, you have a guy who anchored the line. You have a guy who anchored the linebackers, and you have a stud who anchored the defensive backfield. So 2 guys and a stud.
If we judge it on that, right? So we have anchor. Let's talk about the defensive anchors here. You ready? Defensive coordinator, anchor, right? Definitely. Okay. So you got a guy that heads a solid program. Even with the anchor of the defensive line out, which is Parsons, they still managed to get a pretty solid rush on Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I go back to the anchor of the defense is Quay Walker, right? He's got a lot to learn. I'm going to tell you that. He does not move as I would expect someone who's gone from Georgia to the NFL, right, should move. He's getting there. I think that within the next year or two, I think he'll find himself as a top linebacker. And secondary, no, we don't have any anchors in secondary. I don't think Javon Diggs is an anchor. I think that we struggle playing corner and safety, and again, even outside linebacker, I think we struggle in that, especially because we kind of do that defensive scheme where we use the defensive ends as linebackers and blitz the outside linebackers, and it's stupid that people even think that that's a good idea. But I think we struggle, right? And like I said before, we haven't really had a good cornerback situation since Al Harris and Mike McKenzie. And I say that because really we haven't recovered from losing them. Even with the Super Bowl teams, we still haven't been there.
Yeah, Charles Woodson back there too. Right.
Yeah, Charles Woodson, and that was golden. That was money.
Yeah.
That was that secondary couldn't have gotten any better.
Right, and that's when you look at the great teams and you look at that with their defense. Yeah. And the best thing is when you get when that front 7 is making the quarterback uncomfortable, those guys on the back end don't have to stay in coverage as long.
Yeah, and then they're going to take advantage of those opportunities when the ball's thrown and rush, which is what they should have done with Caleb Williams. They should have kept him in a rush the whole time because when he was, what did he do? He messed up.
Well, do you have the personnel to do it? That's what it comes down to.
But I agree, Kay, because Parsons, here's my thing with Parsons. He may be an anchor, but where do you have the inside of the line?
Well, I think you can just look at this. I'll say this. With the Packers, just look at what they did, what they were when Parsons was in there, and what they were when Parsons was gone.
I agree, because
that's really it. He's a game wrecker.
He is a game wrecker.
He's a game wrecker. You can't. Do the Giants win the Super Bowls without LT?
Yeah. If we could just pick up a young Kenny Clark or a young BJ Raji for the middle of the field, we'd be golden.
Yeah, and those are those hanging off trees like crab apples or something, or what? You're just gonna go pick one up at what? Costco?
No, because NIL is killing the game now. You're not going to get those players. Yeah. Wow. It is. It really is. You're not going to pick up.
Talk about Pandora's box being opened. Yeah. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So how are you going to manage the game from this point on? Yeah. How are you going to manage setting up a defense? Anyway, I'm campaigning to get rid of Lafleur right now. Sorry, Lafleur.
Okay. All right.
You've been good for a little bit. You inherited.
College football players are getting paid more than some pros now.
Yeah, I know.
That is insane.
That's why you have the Ole Miss quarterback trying to get a 6-year of eligibility term.
Right. Yeah.
He wants to be Van Wilder. Come on now.
And man, Chris Winkie. You remember him?
Yeah.
He was actually balding by the time he got to the NFL. I think he was 30 or something.
Yeah, then you have Carson Beck, who qualified to be in an old folks home here. Come on now.
Hey, I'd stay in college as long as I could.
Yeah, I know.
You're playing against lesser competition and still going to make $5-6 million a year. Yeah, I would. I think if you play like 4 games, then then that season doesn't count. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you have the redshirt option too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be in college till I was at least 29. That's all I can say, man.
You're not in college?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I took a semester of college when I was about 22.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know.
Marketing.
Okay. I'm finishing my doctorate, so we're killing it here.
Okay. I took marketing.
That's pretty impressive. It worked out for you, by the way, Inside Sports.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you finish your doctorate, if you need me to kind of pimp you out, you just let me know. I know how to do that.
Well, let's make this show go big time, right? And I would have kept wearing the Inside Sports shirt, but I just got too fat for it.
Yeah, I know. I watched it. I watched it outgrow it.
Oh man, just for you, Charles.
Inspired change.
Inspired change. Yeah, can't you tell? I got a nice shirt on. I got a bow tie. Come on now, I've moved up in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm just here, my Dolphins, man. I got to represent there for a minute. Oh, baby. Yeah. Always.
That's impressive.
Official sideline gear available on NFL Shop.
Do we have to say that?
Yeah, they paid me for it.
They paid you for it? You getting paid for this?
Yeah.
You getting paid for this?
I'm a whore.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I put my books in the background. So, I'm trying to get paid by somebody.
Yeah, people think you read.
Yeah, people think I read. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And then, I got my Willie Nelson and Mo Haggard album. It's cool.
Yeah. Work for me.
Anyway, all right, here we go. You ready to make these picks and how we're going to pick them?
Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll. All right, first game. Broncos, Bills.
Okay. This would be an upset alert game, an upset possibility, were it not for Sean Payton. I think he's got these boys balling. I think Denver, their defense is swarming. I don't think they're going to let Josh get off the hook this week. They're not going to let him off the hook. I think they're going to play good, firm, suffocating defense on him for the full 60. And I think the Broncos win this game. They're going to win in front of the mile-high crowd, and they're going to be playing the AFC Championship game in Denver in another week after this. I got Denver. I like Bo Nix. I love the way that Peyton put everything together. I like the leadership. Peyton has a Super Bowl ring also.
Who?
He defeated.
Who? You say Peyton?
Sean Payton, the head coach.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Peyton Manning. I wasn't going to bring up that Broncos.
Well, Sean Payton actually beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl because Sean Payton was coaching the New Orleans Saints when they beat the Colts in the Super Bowl when Manning threw the most egregious pick six in Super Bowl history, but nobody talks about it because we all love Peyton Manning.
No, we don't. We think about that Broncos Super Bowl game where he just sucked the entire game. In fact, sucked so bad that he couldn't retire with that game, and he had to come back the next year and get it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, Cam Newton sucked so bad that he won that game.
Yeah. And again, Cam Newton, dresses like a cool grandma. Anyway,
is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like. All right, so here I'm with you on this one. I think the Broncos are going to get this one, and I have a lot of faith in Sean Payton. I think that he's a great coach. I still believe that they should not have punished him for paying his players to hit harder. because any coach would do something like that. I really don't. I think that
it's ancient history, man. That was that was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it tainted his thing. You had Russell Wilson, who is out there with a cane, saying stuff about that this past season. I think that he schemes well. He's an excellent coach. He turned Drew Brees into a new quarterback when Drew Brees got to the Saints, and he was already good coming out of the Chargers. So I think that he really has done well. He's got a good project in Bo Nix. I've liked how Bo Nix has performed. He actually has been consistent all season long. You're right. Defense plays well. I think that if it comes down to it, it'll be another field goal win for the Broncos. And they are definitely know about that this past season. Got a couple field goal wins.
I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler, but it's a 1.5 point spread. I feel comfortable going ahead and taking Denver and laying that 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
If you gamble, I'd go ahead and take Denver minus 1.5.
Yeah. So okay. So we're both on the same page, but I do think that we can't discount Josh Allen. Really don't. I don't think that we can give him any less credit than he is owed. I think that he has they have a good scheme on their offense. I love their motto, everybody eats. I keep saying that. That's great. Not one player is better. Well, they got better players, but you know what I mean. Is that not one?
Well, I'll tell you this too. Let me just say this. Got to interrupt for a moment.
Yeah.
If/when Buffalo loses this game, I think that's it for Sean McDermott, the Buffalo head coach.
I think so too. I think they'll kick him out with the stadium for sure. They'll leave him there.
Right. Yes, he will not play in the new stadium.
Yeah, he will not play in the new stadium.
He shan't play in the stadium.
Yeah. So next, that'd be interesting though. They get him out and see what they would do, how that would affect kind of the Josh Allen team.
Yep. And everybody, that's the first game. That's the game at 1:30 Pacific time on Saturday. And then do we want to stay with AFC or go with the night game on Saturday night?
Let's go the night game. Yeah, let's make our picks accordingly. So we got Denver. I'm with you on Denver. I'm not going to argue. And honestly, I don't get to make fan picks this time. And I'm going to have to refrain on the Seahawks Frisco game on my hate picks.
That's the 49ers in Seattle.
In Seattle. 15.
Seattle giving up 7 points.
53 degrees. 53 degrees.
Yeah, 53 degrees and nice weather, no rain. So it's going to be a perfect
time of year. Yeah. It's unusual this time of year for Pacific Northwest.
Well, for Seattle not to have rain is unusual any time of year.
Yeah. This one's interesting because the Seahawks have amazed me. I think that they hands down are better than the Super Bowl team that they had with Pete Carroll. I do. You cancel me. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Russell Wilson was not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. You had.
Do you think Russell Wilson at his height was as good as Sam Darnold?
I don't think so. I think that's.
What about Marshawn Lynch in the backfield? Was he not as good as the battering ram of Kenneth Walker and Charbonneau?
No.
And then you're talking about that defense: KJ Wright, Michael Bennett.
I'm telling you, they're at it now. The Seahawks have a better team. I think that they're going to kill it. They've got a better program. And
Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner.
Yeah, what is
Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas? Really? Come on, man.
I'm telling you, they could. Yeah, I know. Listen,
this is a good squad. This is a good squad, though. I like it, and I got some friends who are Seahawks fan. My oldest grandson is a Seahawks fan. He lives up there in the P&W, so it's gonna be good for him. Actually, the middle is a Denver fan, so I'm sure they're gonna be glued to the set on Saturday. But it'll be nice. Denver wins in the morning, and then I'm taking Seattle. The Niners, they're too injured.
Yeah, I think
do give Kyle Shanahan credit, though. I think Shanahan, that's one of those guys who it takes a while. I think Shanahan this season finally has gotten that added ingredient he needs to be a good coach. Maybe it's the addition of having Saleh on his coaching staff.
I think it
It's
is because
quantified things. That could be.
when he excelled, he had Salah. When
Right.
he got him back, I think that he was able to reestablish himself. And I think that's the one thing they've been missing. So
And
I
that was
think
the thing is last season they put Staley on the sideline with him. I mean, come on, man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, Salah unfortunately went to the Jets, and that was a mistake.
And I think some of these coaches need to realize where they do best. Now, Brian Flores is another one who is a defensive coordinator in Minnesota, and they're talking about him for a head coach. Head coach is the prestigious position.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You have the status. There's an aura about it. There's, there's obviously more money, but a lot of guys just need to understand that their thing is as a coordinator, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They're not necessarily head coach material. That's a whole different thing, being that kind of a field general over both sides. But when you're a coordinator, you can focus on that one thing that you're good at and just sink your teeth into that.
I would second that. I head coach out here, and I would argue that I would much rather be either a position coach,
right,
or a coordinator of defense, really defense. But I've had to figure out how to, and you know me, I'm not the quarterback, running back person, but I've had to figure out how to call an offensive game. And develop schemes from a lineman perspective and leave that and kind of learn how to do all this stuff. For me, it's like I tell people all the time, I'd much rather be even like a linebacker or line coach or a defensive coordinator because that's what I was best at, right? I wouldn't necessarily be the guy running the head coach spots. I wouldn't. It's kind of it. I'm not there yet. So I'm with you on that.
Assistant coaches get to do their thing. Whereas head coach is more of it's a PR position. It's all these different things that you have to oversee versus you can do this single focus on the thing that you like, the thing that you love, the thing that you're good at. And that's it versus having your hands in everything that's going on with the team.
Yeah. Right. I'm with you on that one for sure. So I think that people do have to examine that, and I'm glad that Saul came back because he was definitely a coordinator guy as opposed to a head coach. And I think that when it comes down to it, if something were to happen during this game, I think that Salah would be the game changer. I think that defense would lock down. I think that he is capable of kind of isolating these players like I would say Carbonet, but it's what is it? Charbonnet.
Well, Charbonnet, and then there's Kenneth Walker.
Right. So
those are the two.
I always say Carbonet. I've been saying it all year, and it's again I say names wrong. And I think Darnold.
Carbonated.
Yeah, it's like a wine.
Carbonated?
Yeah, not yet Chardonnay.
Chardonnay or carbonated. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you know me. I'm getting everything.
I know you like sparkling wine. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. It just makes me feel fabulous, right? So I think that he's able to. You want to laugh at that one? I think he's able to isolate them, and I think if the game were to flip the other way, that would be the pivotal moment. It'd be a defensive change. Solid's got it, but I'm gonna go with the Seahawks in this one as well.
And then Sunday, we're gonna wake up. You're gonna go to church. Yeah. And when you come back, the Houston Texans are going to be in New England, 35 degrees, snow flurries, playing outdoors against the element versus the friendly confines they play there in Houston. So can they get it done? From what I understand, Davis Mills is going to start as opposed to C.J. Stroud, I believe.
So hear me out. I like Davis Mills. I think that he is.
He won 3 games for him when he had to fill in this year.
Yeah, he's a lot more sound. He's someone that I would trust in, especially after last game, with Stroud just kind of, I don't know what he was doing. He was pretending to be a quarterback. I think that I like Davis Mills. I think though that the defense for the Texans is a huge moment here. I don't think that Drake May will be able to do what he has been doing. So I think that they'll have to scheme differently, and that's gonna get May out of his comfort zone. So I think that Patriots are definitely not going to win this one.
Okay, so And I was just trying to confirm, so, it will be Davis Mills or CJ. I could not absolutely confirm that CJ is not going to be starting, so
Yeah.
let me go ahead and retract that a little bit. But still, that defense is swarming. And
Yeah.
Patriots play good defense on their side too. So this may be some good smash mouth football. This is going back to George Halas and Vince Lombardi and those type of things. We may have another close game.
Yeah, I would say close game.
We'll see. I'm going with Houston, though. I like Houston's defense a little better than the Patriots. Yeah. I'm going with Houston. I would not put any money on this game either way.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I'll just go ahead and say that. It's a 3.5 point spread there. New England giving up 3.5 points. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the NFL has them pegged for a 2-point win. Essentially what they got here. That's what they got them pegged at.
Oh, gamblers always have their conspiracy theories. I love it. They always know what's going on, but they can't make any money off of it.
Yeah, it's on the bracket, right? But I'm not going to go with the bracket here. So they got the Patriots for a win. I'm going with the Texans. Again, they got good downhill movement. I think that Drake May is going to be out of his comfort zone the entire game. And I do believe that we should trust more in Davis Mills than CJ Stroud. I just haven't liked him since he started playing. I know people have their comments about that, and I'm sorry. I'm going with a defense.
CJ hasn't been playing that long, man. Could you give him a little bit of time to season?
No. I think that this QB class that they came out of has not been one that we should keep around for too long. I think that we should get rid of them.
All right. So speaking of QBs that are still trying to earn your respect, the night game or afternoon game here, 3:30. The Rams going into frigid Chicago to play in Soldier Field, where the high for the day is going to be 18 degrees. There's snow possible. Of course, the stadium is outdoors. The Southern California team going across to Middle America and trying to win a game when it's probably going to be 9 degrees outside with snow.
So hear me out. Okay, so if we take the weather out of it, I think that the Rams
take the weather out of it.
No, let's say hear me out. Let me finish first. We're going theoretical here.
Okay.
I think the Rams are the better team. I think that Stafford's the better quarterback. I think that there's more weapons on the offense for Stafford to utilize. I do like the Rams defense. However, I think the weather is a big factor in this one. I really do. I think it's a big factor.
You don't have to convince me.
Yeah.
I know what 9 degrees feels like.
Yeah, I know.
Been a couple winters in Germany.
Yeah, that's Germany though. It's not Chicago.
Oh yeah. But 9 degrees is different over there because of the whole Fahrenheit and Celsius thing, or what?
No, you have the wind in Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, try standing on the flight line overnight in Germany. Standing guard duty before they invented Under Armour.
That's true. All right, so you got that. Man, I don't know. I don't really want to pick the Bears. I don't.
Come on, Packer fan, you got to give it up right here. You know the Bears are winning this game.
Especially after their Ben Johnson lacks character, honor, and respect. Not the locker room talk. It's the handshake that got me. He could say F the Packers all he wants to in the locker room, but on the field, you shake a hand like a man. Shake a hand like a man. Okay. Say, good job. I appreciate you out there, coach. And then run off and then say, F the Packers. Be a man. I don't like Ben Johnson.
Hey, you didn't have a cheese grater out,
No. I did not have a cheese grater.
Wearing cheese graters on their heads and everything, dude, grating cheese on the sidelines and whatnot.
Yeah.
No, you weren't down with it?
Yeah, they're just sad, or they're just, taking advantage of the momentary, time in history where the Packers don't own them.
Okay. You know that's going to happen next year too. But yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't like Ben Johnson. Kind of just was a guy who I don't rely on a lot. I think that again, the lack of adjustment for the Packers is the reason why the Bears took that. So I think Sean McVay is a lot better coach than Matt Lafleur. And so I am going to roll with the Rams. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Rams.
You went a long way to justify that pick, homie. You and I know the Bears will win that game.
Did you see my theory in that one? You see it?
I heard it.
You heard it, yeah, and you said, "Damn, this guy is right. He is right. Let's roll with the Rams."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Come on now.
You know, you make that pick, and it's funny because the same week that's, even more disturbing. They cater to these different people in society. There's all this pandering and everything. I don't know if you knew about this. I don't know if this news reached Texas, because if it did, the Earth might stop spinning on its axis over there somehow, just in Texas.
Starlink cuts a lot of that stuff off for Texas, right?
Well, check this out, though. And I saw it on the regular news. You're aware of Barbie dolls, right? Not that you ever played with them, but they came out with these new, just to make everybody feel included. They now have a Down syndrome Barbie. They have a type 2 Barbie, and then my favorite, they have a Barbie, an autism Barbie, which comes with, I'm not lying about this. I swear this is true. Saw it on the regular TV. Comes with headphones, a fidget spinner, and a tablet, because she's autistic Barbie. Now, I think in all fairness, what they need is to come out with a Section 8 Barbie. Comes with WIC vouchers, a car with 3 different brands of tires on it. And by the way, yes, baby daddy stole Section 8.
I'm glad they're so inclusive on things,
Yeah, right. Because I know they have the Down syndrome Barbie.
Yeah, you know what? We can look at the inclusivity, or we can look at the money they're trying to make, right? It's just capital expansion, right? Yeah. Yeah, come on now. What are we doing?
Oh.
What are we doing?
Down syndrome Barbie. They have Down syndrome Barbie, type 2 Barbie.
There's got to be a market for that.
Hey, it's available in Target stores. When's your birthday? I'll send you one.
Yeah. I will send it back. I'm sorry.
It's like we've become an SNL skit.
Yeah.
The entire country has become an SNL skit.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's isn't that what you go for? You want to be an SNL skit?
Yeah. Too bad SNL has gotten so weak these days, and they just need to look at a lot of the regular stuff here. But if you can't even make fun of it on a grand stage, otherwise you get... Oh, never mind. You don't get canceled anymore because Hollywood is dead. I forgot.
Is it dead?
Hollywood, yeah, it is. Yes.
Is it dead?
Come on, the Golden Globes had 2 million viewers. The Golden Globes had 2 million viewers.
Yeah, because every movie
videos get more than that. Nobody was watching it.
Every movie our show gets more viewers than that. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Nobody cares. Hollywood is irrelevant because they turned everything into a 2-hour PSA about some social agenda.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to go to movies. Movies are supposed to escape. Nobody wants to go to the movies to hear the same conversation you just heard in the freaking lunchroom when you were at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Except if they were to make a movie out of what I say in the lunchroom, it would be canceled.
Yeah. Who drank the Kool-Aid? Yeah. One of y'all eat my lunch again?
Yeah. You know me.
I had half a pulled pork sandwich in here. One of y'all done ate it. Yeah, I know about your lunchroom, homie. Yeah.
You can already imagine what I say in the lunchroom.
If one of y'all breath smell like biscuit, there's a problem here. I had brisket in there. Yeah, I know.
got brisket. Y'all done ate it. Stop it.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, but you're right though. They don't want to. Nobody wants to watch movies about that. Some do, I guess. Some are weird like that, and so they just watch that crap the whole time.
We don't want slice of life. Okay, I have my life. I don't need a slice of it.
Then for you get a really bad reboot of a movie that was probably already bad.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I don't. You know what? I'll be honest. As much as I loved cinema growing up, and I did some acting and things, but yeah, I have not sat down and watched a movie first run in, honestly, probably 3 years. I see previews sometimes, and I think, oh, that looks almost interesting, and then before I know it, that movie was 18 months ago or something, and
Yeah.
then
Well,
I see it and I don't watch it, and that's that. And when I do watch a movie, what happens? It's like, oh yeah, this is like that movie they made in 1978 that was X, Y, and Z, except the girl was a boy and that dog was a monkey.
yeah. But now we have it even cooler because we can look at the news and say, hey, that was a 1970s movie, right?
Yeah.
1980s movie. Like, look at Soylent Green, and then you look at Bill Gates doing his lab grown meat and stuff. Come on now. Trying to put dead old people in this.
You have no idea how many,
Yeah.
when I see a lot of the political ploys, and
Yeah.
I have seen the same thing played out like when I was in junior high school, when I got out of the, I was in the service, and see it during every administration. You see the same things played over different ways. But you notice what they do now is they have basically erased history for the young people.
Yeah.
Don't look at the old people because they don't know anything. They're stuck in a different time. We can't progress if you listen to your elders because they don't know anything. And they cut them off from history, so they think that everything is brand new.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like I've seen it before in 10 different forms.
Yeah. Well, that's when you make the greatest enemy to the U.S. military the naming of forts, right? That's what you get.
Yeah.
Well, but then look at because that's exactly the point though, because look at Contagion, like the movie Contagion with Matt Damon. It's like then look at what happened a few years later, huh?
Right.
Played out exactly the same in 2020. So anyway,
but you have the youngsters though. See, our generation could connect those dots and see things, but youngsters, they think that really, it's like they think that the world began when they were born, and that's it. Anything before that is irrelevant. Didn't happen. It's just the stuff of, it's just lore. It's just stories told by old people. It never actually happened. No, it did.
Yeah.
It did. It all happened. We've seen it before. And that's why a lot of us don't care about whatever they're upset about. All these hot button issues, spontaneous knowledge, something that you didn't even know about. And then all of a sudden you see a 3-minute snippet, and all of a sudden, here's your hill you'll die on. And you don't know anything about it. All you know is you have to defend it. So when someone asks you why, what do? You freak out. You start popping Ativan, and you block them online.
Yeah, you call them mean.
Because how dare they ask me why when I said it and I know it's true? I shouldn't have to explain it to anyone.
Yeah, call them mean and report them. That's what you do.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Have them cancel, find out where they work, and make them lose their job.
Yeah, make them lose their job, right? Oh, can you imagine if people are afraid of that? Come on now.
We used to have those fights in the lunchroom back in my day. Political just knock down dragouts in the lunchroom, and all of a sudden, bring, all right, let's get back to work.
Yeah,
almost like the sheepdog and the coyote in the old Warner Brothers cartoon. That was the lunchroom back in the old workplaces.
Yeah.
Morning, Sam. Morning, Ralph. Still voting Republican? Yeah. You still voting Democrat? All right.
Yeah. Now it's, my conversations are talking about, the fact that America's getting dumber. But hey, who am I to judge that one, huh?
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap it up, homeboy.
Yeah. Here we go. Thank you for tuning in to T.D.G.S. Sports, right? We will see if our playoff predictions aged well or didn't, and we will see who is playing next week's game. Hopefully not the Bears. That being said, I appreciate you all for tuning in, guys. We are on Rumble. We are on Substack. I threw it out there this week. We are on YouTube, and I'm probably going to expand to a few more platforms. Still looking into that and how much marketing. Maybe I'll take a thing or two from the marketing expert over here. Charles Smith Jr., the wise, the great, the wise, inspiring change.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all sitting down. I see the eight people that watched it on Rumble. Thank you for that. I will cut this into its own segment separately, so you guys don't have to sit through the political stuff if you don't want to, which is fine by me. Anyway, thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, leave questions. Again, call us dumb. We're okay with that. Let's figure it out and move on from there. We will see you next Thursday.
Justin still doesn't know that people don't watch live. They just watch at their leisure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. They can be watching it after the Friday. Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right.